dedicate the first part of this video to doing some raids, putting that content up on the internet. So what are raids? Raids are where you get the bulk of your gear. So when you're upgrading your characters, there are different ways to upgrade your characters. And let's look at like Tez, or let's look at Cicero, for example. One way you can do it is you can get dupes, and you can raise your level cap up to 5 dupes. You get a max level of 65. Another way you could do it is by increasing their grade. S grade is the highest grade we can get right now, and you do that by using the little potion bubble things plus rainbow essences for the higher grades. The other way you can upgrade them is by fortifying, and that's pretty easy because that's just XP. They get that farming, they get that you can give them other monsters and stuff like that. You can upgrade their skills right here, and their abilities are kind of like their passive talent tree. It's pretty easy to kind of max out one line. The next line actually costs a lot of this blue essence, so you can see it's like 350 for 1 point. Is this guy maxed out here? He is. Alright, so after that, the longest grind in the game will probably be getting the really, really good gear. And by really, really good gear, I mean, like you can see, like he's got 5-star earring, and it's capped. I got that from one of some gear ticket or something like that. I have a few like good 5-star items, but as you can see, there are no elemental items. What you eventually want to get is 5-star elemental that corresponds to the elements that the guy has or the girl has. So where do you get this gear? You need an incredible amount of gear in order to get this stuff to level that stuff up. And you can get 5-star drops from raids. However, the easiest way to I don't know if it's easier, but the main way people are getting 5-star gear is by leveling up 4-star gear max, taking 4 of them, and then synthesizing them into one 5-star. Maybe you get like a common item, maybe you get a named. I don't know how exactly how it works because I've never synthesized like 4 stars into 5 stars. But what you would really like to do is go to our gear inventory. Like for weapons, for example, you would like to get like 4 of these 4-star fire elemental staffs and synthesize all 4 elemental fire ones. And I think what you get is a elemental 5-star, but I'm not 100% sure at all. I don't know. So these elemental weapons are really good, and where you get the 4-star elemental stuff is raid. And so you get light, and let's go to the raids. Special raids. How many keys do we have? We have 5 keys. So this is a dark monster. This is a water monster, and this is a fire monster. So I believe you get dark elemental weapons from here, water elemental weapons from here, and fire elemental weapons from there. I don't know where I got the other ones that I have. They might be from like tickets or like pole chests or something like that. So because we're using Tez, we're using Cicero, we're using Proxy, and we have a 4-star elemental light weapon on our Dominique, we're going to stick with farming Fafnir. Honestly, I haven't even tried to build a team for Leigstein or Vetter yet, so that would be a super pain. At the moment, like leveling a secondary team is actually hard because you need a lot of materials, you need a lot of gold, you need a lot of rainbow essences. So right now I'm focusing on leveling a green team so that I can auto farm 810. I mean, just so that I can kill 810. But in the meantime, since we have 5 raid tokens, we're going to initiate some raids. and we'll check one out, and then we'll discuss a little bit of strategy. So as you can see, Guildy. So what happens here is these are all raids that have already been started, and if you look at any specific raid, you can come in here. Here's a level 8 raid. You can look. This guy started it. He's used 2 keys, and he's got a total of 32,000 damage. So this raid's going to be open for about 2 to 3 hours. And what he wants is he wants people to join his raid and kill off this 900k HP for the dragon. If you start one and it gets killed, you can, the next time you open up, you can open up the next highest tier. So eventually you can start opening up really high tiers. The problem with these is these rarely get killed without like a coordinated effort. So you kind of need your guild to open it up and do it. Here is a level 7 one that a guildie has opened. And he did 148,000, so he's currently in second place. This guy came in and did 161,000, so he's in first, so he's going to get the bulk of the good gear. So ideally what you want when you're farming these raids is you want to be able to do half of the damage in one key. That's really hard to do for a level 7. On a level 7, if you do 200,000, you're pretty much guaranteed to get first place, barring some guy using multiple keys, which, you know, you can't really protect yourself against without doing multiple keys yourself, A, or B, doing half the damage. If you do 300,000, some dude can waste 6 keys, and it's not gonna knock you out of first place. So it does create a little bit of like a prisoner's dilemma here. You want to open up the higher tier raids, but you also don't want people coming in and smoking you. As long as you're first on the really high tier raids, as long as you're first, second, or third, I believe, you have a pretty good shot at decent gear. You don't want to be wasting your keys on higher tier raids when you're not going to get first, second, or third, which creates the problem that when you open up a level 7 or a level 8 raid and you see this, you might not even, like right now, there's 47,000 HP left on this raid. If I go in there and I smoke it, I wasted my key, I make 47,000, I get 5th place. I'll get some gear, but I'll get nothing good. And I really have zero incentive to like kind of help out this guy, even though this is a guildie. Like I would like to help him out. And you get 5 keys every 2 hours. That's what? 120 minutes divided by 5. So what's that? Like 24 minutes. So you get a key every like half an hour, every 24 minutes. It's not a huge deal. So if you're really farming raids, they kind of go. You can kind of get through them, but ideally you would love to get whatever you get, 20 keys per day or 40 keys per day. Ideally you would like to get 40 first places as opposed to 20 first places and 20 helpers. That's something that you got to kind of just work out and kind of get a balance going and help people out when you can, and hopefully that gets returned I think that problem kind of goes away once you start getting to these higher level ones, like a level 8. You can get 2 of your friends to come in, and you can do like an alternating system where you each like do 300k or something, and you'll all 3 be top 3, and you'll be getting pretty good rewards. And then it'll be fairly easy to kind of like figure out, okay, I'll take first on this one, and I'll do a little bit less on the next one. All right, so I think that explains. Oh yeah, so when you open them, if you don't want people popping into them, so we'll come here. We'll start. This is the interface to start them. When you start it, don't open it to the public, because what might happen is you won't even get a chance to do multiple keys because somebody might kill it while you're in it. And so you always want to like either close to the public or guild and guild plus friends only. Generally, this is a small enough world of players that you'll be fine. You'll at least get through your one hit. that being said, after you've kind of attacked the boss and you've established yourself on the leaderboard, then you don't want to limit the world of people that can take it unless you specifically want it to be like a guild-only raid. So then you can come back in and click settings and then open it to the public. And then you just kind of have to sit around and wait for people to come in and kill the dungeon for you. Sometimes people don't, and so then you're stuck having to use like multiple keys in order to finish that dungeon. Otherwise, you will have wasted the one and not gotten anything, and you'll have also wasted the time. So that's kind of your biggest limiting factor is if you want to be efficient, you want to be closing out a raid every 20 minutes so that you're using your keys up as you get them. So let's take a look at I don't know, should we do level 5 or should we do level 6? Let's do a level 5. No, let's do a level 6. And see if we can get, we'll start off with the level 5, and we'll push for, we'll get 150,000. I don't know if we'll get anybody to finish it off real quick, and then we'll talk about like comps and stuff. So he's dark, he does all AoEs, and you want to keep certain debuffs on him and certain buffs up, but it becomes increasingly difficult, especially when you don't have any sort of like attack speed or cooldown reduction or something like that. So here we go, we'll summon a level 5. That is not my team, this is my team. Current formation, you'll see we have Cicero as the tank up in the very front. He's a heal bot in this one. He doesn't really do anything else but heal bot. You'll see Alcon. His kit is designed around attack buff plus heal. His skill 1 does a heal plus an attack buff. So kind of two birds for one stone. His second skill does good single target damage and puts a damage down debuff on the boss, which is excellent. I just can't rotate that many skills in. Then we have Helena. She's dual heals. She's got heals on, at least a barrier on one and a heal on another. But between his heal, and her heal, I can pretty much go like DPS, heal, DPS, heal, DPS, heal. Dominique is kind of my main damage dealer. I'd like to get her up to 65. Her number 2 skill just does extra damage based on the fact that they're dark. So there are no conditional modifiers. She's not like Gleck, who can technically do a little bit more damage than her. However, he needs to get his crit buff up in order to do that extra damage. She just, whenever she does her second ability, she does the extra damage. And then we have Tez, because our Tez is just geared. She's only 45, but she's got like all my nice gear, and I think she's S grade. She might not be S, she might be A. She does a lot of damage. One of the big deals about Fafnir is I think he's got a reduced chance to be crit or something like that. So her second skill is an automatic crit no matter what. So it's always nice to get that crit damage in. So let's give this a go, and we'll get a feel for the rotation here. Okay, here he comes. He's going to do a little bit of AoE when he lands. And I'll start off with this attack buff heal. Okay, we're buffed, we're topped off. He's going to hit us, and I'm going to go straight into that. And then we'll go into our defense up buff. And into Dominique's first ability. She actually hits harder than Tez, I believe, so we tend to focus on her skills as much as we can. And then after that, Alcon's going to be a little low. we're going to Helena heal up to full, and then go into Tez's second ability. Okay, so Tez is going to do her crit, and then we'll need our attack buff up again. And then we're going to go into Dominique's second ability, because that's the hardest hitting one that we have. After that, we'll defense buff. Go there. And at around 2 minutes, I like to stop healing and just go all out damage. Alright, we'll do one more top up heal. Actually, no. We'll just do that. We'll top up heal with the debuff, with the buff. Because you only have 5 minutes to do as much damage as possible. So it doesn't behoove you to finish the fight with a lot of life. Oh no, he decided to use his things before us. Okay, Alcon's gonna not die here probably. Okay. How much does Dominique do? 18,000. And Tez usually can do a lot of damage towards the end, because she's dark, she's not taking a lot of damage. And that should finish us off. I think we'll get these two Tez hits in. How much is Tez hitting for? A little bit slow. We're not going to get that last one in, I don't think. Okay, good. We got it. So you can see we did 204,000. And oh no, we get a key every 2 hours, it seems like. Okay, so it's actually a lot. So my bad. So for some reason I thought we got 5 keys in that timer. So no, it's a key every 2 hours. So you get, 12 keys a day. Refresh plus whatever you get. I mean, so you want to maximize what you're getting for these raids. It's actually kind of important. Excuse me. So now we're going to go back up here to our raid. We're going to change the settings, and we're going to open it up to the public. And let's hope people jump in. The problem with this is not many people will be incentivized to jump into this, because I did 203,000. There's not that much left to do. That being said, somebody who just wants second place can go in there really quickly. If they know they can do 100K, they'll just do 100K, close it out, and get their guaranteed second place. So there's goods and bads to it. So let's, while we're waiting for someone to finish our raid, we'll do a level 6 one next. But let's look at the comps and what we're using particularly, and then what could be some good replacements. So in general, for Fafnir, you want things that will do single target damage. Obviously, you don't need the low multipliers on AoE, because it doesn't doesn't do you any good. So if we look at Dominique, she has this skill, 299 plus 158, because she's always going to do this to dark enemies. And she's light, so she's doing more damage anyway. So you saw she hit for like 18,000. 94-second cooldown, not the greatest. Her first skill does 276, and I don't think there are buffs, but I'm not 100% sure because it's really hard to see the buff toggle on this small Nox window. Even worse on the phone. The interface during the fight is kind of bad. So she's a good deeps. Another good option that I've seen people use when it comes to light deeps is Young Galek. You can see his scales a little bit better. His second ability is and it's only level 4, does 300 plus 159 if he's got a crit rate effect. The way he gets his, and it's got a shorter cooldown, 72. So if the way he gets his crit rate effect is he uses his skill 1, which does 267, so it's also a good single target ability, and it increases his crit rate. So he's a really good Fafnir DPS. I know you'll see a lot of people running Galek. Let's look at our Tez. Tez 317 to one enemy, guaranteed crit. So I think that's where you're getting a lot of the important thing about Teze is she's dark, so she doesn't take a lot of damage. She doesn't deal the bonus damage, but she doesn't take a lot of damage. And when you're first starting out, Fafnir hits AoE, he hits really hard. You have Sophia who's healing only 3 people. Sometimes your Teze doesn't even get to heal. So you want people who are going to at least live to do damage throughout the fight. That's one of the reasons why she's really good. And here we have her Shunyata actually hits harder than her second ability if she has a plus attack effect. So that's my bad. I think I wasn't taking advantage of the Alcon plus attack effect. I think I was actually using her second ability before I used her one ability. That's a mistake. I should do Alcon's heal, then Dominique's second ability, then Cicero's heal, and then Teze's first ability. And as you can see, it's on a super low cooldown. So this is a really, really good skill. Who else is good? Let's look at some more dark characters for livability. Cicero's obviously going to be your best tank. Outside, maybe Demian. I don't really know exactly what Demian does, but Cicero, as far as damage, as far as a tank, he's going to heal your team. He's going to put defense up on your team, make them even stronger, and you take less damage with him on your lead. So if you're having problems with dying, put him as your leader. It's going to be even better. He's going to provide more for the team, and he just takes less damage from dark. So he's a pro person to have in the front line. You never want your front line to go down because all of a sudden your midline and your back line, your midline goes to 0% bonus and your back line goes to only 15% bonus. So they start taking a shitload more damage. You'll see people running proxy in the midline of the formation because he can be built somewhat durable, and he's got that kind of heal built into his second ability. Unfortunately, I don't really like to weave proxy's second ability into it because all it does is heal him and the tank, or maybe it heals the lowest person, and it just doesn't do that much damage. It doesn't provide that much. There are other neutral monsters to Fafnir that will provide much more, that being Alcon, and he fulfills the role of of a buffer. So dark will deal the same amount of damage to fire, to water, to wind as it does to a dark guy. There's no elemental disadvantage there. Let's see. We're focusing on DPS. So As far as SSRs go, Malpion is probably a good one as well if you need like a livable SSR to do damage. What does he give? He's 272, so high single target, 45-second ability with a crit rate up. That's cool. And he deals 278 damage, and he blinds. So I'm not sure if blind works on the boss. I don't really even know what blind does. If blind just makes you miss, then it's super, super, super overpowered. If blind just makes it so that like it's like an accuracy thing where they just can't land debuffs, it doesn't really matter because I don't think the Fafnir really is a debuff focused attack success rate. So yeah, it looks like maybe they just miss. So if he's just missing 50% of the time for 20 seconds, like that might be like his next 2 attacks. So this could be really, really good on the much higher levels of Fafnir when he's doing like a shitload of damage and you need your team to be able to maybe skip a hit in order to live. I've been looking at possibly Jack as a pure damage dealer. Is this Jack? Yeah, his name's Jack. His first ability deals 258 and an additional 150 to dark enemies. So we're looking at unskilled about 410, and that's pretty good because it's on a low cooldown and it's unconditional. The problem is this guy is SSR. It's going to be really hard to get dupes of him, and he's not farmable at all. So it's just like, you know, random luck of the draw. But he does offer a lot of utility. You're not going to use his second skill because it's got low multiplier and AoE. But he does this where he just starts tossing out barriers when he gets low, which is kind of cool. So he can definitely add something to your team as maybe like an off DPS that only uses his first ability, weaving in with another like pure DPS character. This guy is AoE, so he's no bueno. Another interesting option that I was looking at is Shinobi. You can see I'm kind of ready to try him out, but he's dark and I already have Tez, so I don't really need him. But for another comp that I've been thinking about doing, this guy might be really good, in as much that both of his abilities are single target, like big damage. And here he does 250 base plus the poison, which has a 90% success rate, which is really good for a low skill. It's basically like just a step down from Ren's, which is 100% success rate. And the reason you want poison is because this combos into his second ability, which is 245. Again, this goes up to like, you know, a 400 base if they're poisoned. So that's cool. But the real reason I was looking at Shinobi is because he could technically be the one DPS and like partnered with this girl right here, Amati. And I was really looking at her. Now, this is if you don't really have like good light SSRs and light SRs that you can like really focus on. If you happen to have her kit sounds as if it would work perfectly with this team. Like use Shinobi and Amati as your DPS. And so here she inflicts poison on 3 enemies, dealing a bunch of stuff. That's not that great, and this is kind of an issue with her kit. It doesn't really do damage, but it does land the poisons, and it decreases their defense. So this is a really good debuff when you decrease the defense of Fafnir. But her important ability is this chain, and this chain's on a lower cooldown than her first ability. And so this chain has the potential, as you can see, straight up 500% multiplier on one enemy if they're affected by poison, and it decreases the damage of the enemy by, like 40% by the time you level this up. So this is a key debuff to have on the boss. I really think that despite the fact that she is green, she's not going to be pure damage as much as, a light. However, she's got better multipliers. She decreases defense and she decreases the damage. So this girl right here kind of brings everything to the table that you want for Fafnir. And with that, let's transition into buffs and debuffs. So we've already talked about attack up. This guy, Alcon, he's just a great support. He's not there for damage. He can bring damage. He can bring decent damage. He's got a good second ability that has a high scalar multiplier, and it decreases the damage. So with Amati on the team, you no longer have to worry about doing this. You're not going to be weaving this in at all. You're basically just bringing him in here for this, the heal plus the attack up. And so you're self-buffing your attack up. You have Cicero with defense up. You have Amati that's cutting the defense of the boss and cutting the damage of the boss. And so you're looking at like a pretty good stacked lineup there. Who are some other good buffers? I believe Elfie is a good buffer that you could use. Hecate is a decent replacement for Alcon. She's not going to bring the attack up, but she will bring a decent multiplier and an attack down on her one ability. I think this ability is AoE and it puts on poison, but a low success rate, so not a big deal. But I mean, she's definitely. I was using her for the attack down. She's definitely an option if you need an attack down. Let's see. Debuffs. Ash has, I think Ash has attack down on his Voltaic Savior. He decreases attack, doesn't decrease damage. So I believe those are two different debuffs. So if you really want to double down on making the bosses weak, you can go reduce attack and reduce the damage done. I don't think you need to go that much onto Fafnir, at least not on stage 7 and below, because you want to be focused on doing damage as opposed to you just need enough debuffs on the boss in order to live with one heal in between your attacks. It'd be beautiful if you can get to the point where you can do two attacks and then one heal, 2 attacks, 1 heal, but I need more skill points into my heals and attack in order to get to that stage. And then you're really going to start pumping out DPS when that happens. Let's see, another buffer, debuffer. Who was I looking at? I think was I looking at Yuri? Not Cherny. Cherny. Here she is. Oh. I guess I don't know where she is, but she's a cooldown reducer. I was trying to see if she offered anything else to the team. Here she is. She's light. Yuri. Okay, so she has a barrier, and she speeds people up and increases their attack. So for a really like a really attack-focused team, this could work. The only problem is this would count as one of your, like, either one of your attacks or one of your heals. And so you need to figure out, like, kind of where in your rotation you would want to bring her. And it's got a 100-second cooldown. So you're only going to do this ostensibly, you know, once or twice during a fight. Will that 13 seconds extra cooldown for your allies, I mean, I don't know what it gets up to, but, and I can't see because she doesn't have a grade, or she doesn't have a dupe yet. But, yeah, I don't know how high that gets, and I don't know how much you're going to, like, utilize that on for your other guys. Let's see. And I think that's it for debuffers. I did mention Elfie. Unfortunately, I don't have an Elfie in my lineup. We could try to find her. I just hate going through the guide, though. Not at the Abbey. Mercenary. Nope. Okay, here she is. She's a desert woman. Okay, so what did Elfie bring to the table that I liked? Not that. Okay, here she goes. She's also got Alcon's first ability. So she will heal 4 people, and so it's like a slightly better heal and a slightly better attack buff. And then she's got this kind of like pure crit rate buff. So she's really, really like buff support focused. Kind of cool if you can actually weave that in there to get the extra crits. I just don't know if the loss of A, heal, or B, a swing is gonna affect your, if you're gonna get enough out of this extra 21% crit rate for a minute. She also heals like an ally whenever she uses an ability, so that's kind of neat. But again, she's a replacement. She's a possibility just because she has a heal and an attack buff in one, so she can definitely fulfill like Alcon's role, and you won't lose a turn in using that buff. As far as this girl, I really would have liked to try her out. She seems pretty good. So she, not only does she increase the cooldown, so she basically gives you like a turn meter boost, she gives you damage immunity. One time, and it duration's 32 seconds. So basically she immunes the next hit. So she can weave her cooldown turn meter boost in without losing a heal, essentially, because you won't need to heal, because you'll be getting immunity for the next AoE. So this is a pretty sweet ability, and I kind of do wish I had her. And then what's her second? And then her second ability is heal for the whole team, like a hot. Oh, that's interesting. You get 5 ticks, 150%. That's a good heal. It's a really good heal, multiplier-wise, and you get a buff, a defense buff. So this is an uber support, in my opinion, for Fafnir. Possibly the best healer / support for Fafnir. Let's see. She also is not light, so she won't take extra damage from him. So that's always a plus. And as for other healers, I think people pretty much know who they're using for as healers. You have the SSR versions, you have Sophia and Helena, and the SR version, you have Necroid, just pure healers. And so I like the Yggdrasil because she comes in as like a support slash healer, but she fulfills the role just fine. If you had her and Cicero, that might actually be enough healing for your team because she gives an immunity plus speed up. Then she also gives defense up plus a heal, and then Cicero gives defense up plus a heal. So you're really, really weaving in like nice skills on just two characters. You might even be able to run 3 DPS with that team. The biggest problem with the third DPS is who do you stick in the middle? Like, do you stick Yggdrasil in the middle? Then you risk your healer kind of going down because it's taking more damage. Or do you have like a tankier DPS with you? I don't know who would fill that role. Maybe Teze, maybe Malpion could do it since they're dark. But technically, I guess any other color except for light could do it as well. So that's kind of the comps that you could run. Feel free to drop some comments below if you've had real good success running other comps. I don't see why you couldn't run some of these other DPSs from the other colors like Reza, any of these like crazy link abilities that I've yet to experience or try out. I don't know if those will be just super, super effective on the boss. Then there's like people like this, like Hien. What does she do? Her one ability has a 270 multiplier to 1, but then she does another 270 if this chain attack is triggered, and it's a guaranteed crit, and the chain triggers off of a burn. So if you have somebody that's steadily applying burns, this girl could like be just outputting numbers. I'm just not sure. Let's see. 9. Okay, and what's her second ability? Her second ability, unfortunately, is a AoE. However, she does decrease damage. So she does bring a little bit of like utility as well. So if you are running somebody that brings a ton of burn, maybe somebody like Hien could be really good. Who else is there? Like as far as tanks go, I was looking at this guy. He has a nice single target ability, and he decreases the attack at the same time. So you could kind of weave in this attack and still do pretty decent damage. And then he buffs the attack of everybody and creates a barrier on himself. So that's not necessarily the greatest thing. However, he is in the front, so he's taking the brunt of the damage. So if he needed to heal solely for the sake of himself, that could kind of fulfill that role. Yeah, it's interesting. There are a lot of like possible combinations that you can use on Fafnir, mainly because Fafnir is such a just tank and spank fight. There are no like, I have to bust his shield, I have to kill ads, I have to do this, I have to do that. There's none of that. Dan the Man, 101A. Craigasm. I have no idea what those are. What were you remarking at? Sorry, I just saw your chat kind of pop up on the screen. But anyways, I think that does it for comps for Fafnir. Like I said, there's probably a lot of things that you could try to do in order to get damage. The most interesting to me right now would be to try Amati out and see if I could get her to do big numbers. That would be pretty fun. We're working on her because we need something to farm 810. So let's go see if our raid has been completed, and it has not. Oh wait, yeah, it has. Reward available. Awesome. Timed out. Okay, so Jodzilla came in, did 96,000 for a level 5. What do we get? Ooh, we got a dark cape and some 3-star gear and 5,000 currency. So that's not bad. Let's kind of let's up the stakes here a little, and let's do a. I would really like to get 2 more of these capes, 2 more, and then I could level them up and try to get a 5-star elemental armor that's dark. That would be awesome for Cicero. But let's. Oh, Peachy's still in this one. Wow, Peachy's level 41. Holy shit. It was 147. So I guess he's okay. Somebody could come in and do 194, and then the lowest he's going to get is 3rd. So 3rd on a level 7. I don't know if that's better than 1st on a level 5. I really don't. Why is my... Okay, so let's try level 6 and see how our comp works on a level 6. So the goal here is 226,000 or 225 and a little bit. We're not going to hit that. We would like to hit 180. That's a pretty good amount. So let's same comp. Healer, it says in the back. This, I mean, yeah, honestly, Tez might even be able to go in the middle, but we'll stick with this. And then let's remember to do Alcon, Dominique 2, and Teze 1, and see how it works. This one's going to be a little bit more hectic, as we do take a lot more damage in level 6. Okay, we've got our first 3 turns set up. And I know Alcon should get pretty low, but I don't think he's going to die in these combos. We'll do this preset, then we'll heal up. Then we'll hit her first ability, and I want to see what buffs. Enemy effects. Beast King resists cooldown increase. Beast King resists all status effects. So what's going on here? I think we're lagged out. That's no bueno. And then it's frozen. So I saw something that I would like. Yeah, I think we froze it. Oh, there goes the stream. Fucking internet. And it looks like our internet just, yep, our internet just went out. Nice. All right, so we'll pause it here, and we'll pick this back up in a little bit and kind of rerun that key. That's unfortunate. We did 50,000, so all right, to be continued.